close to 6 feet 10 inches tall. I mean, he was towering over Randy. Sorry, it's just I couldn't believe it.
And not a former football player, former basketball player.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right, well, that makes sense then. Go ahead, Jen.
Bold on the side.
Yeah.
What's the emotional sort of roller coaster like? You go from Friday and you're there with everything to Saturday, then you get knock on the door. I mean, you know Randy Moss. He's not that much of an emotional guy. You said he's not a crier. So how much did this really hit him and affect him to see him react like that?
It's an amazing moment. Everyone's always overwhelmed. Even as a first ballot, I was in Ray's room, spent a lot of time. We were on the same floor, so we're in the same hotel. Moss was on the 14th floor, so I knew the knock was coming. And there's nothing you can prepare yourself for. And it will break you down because it's just to think now in the class that he's in, as far as not only players, but just your position. You know, now in the same breath, Steve Largent, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. If you look at the last 30 years, those are the only first ballot Hall of Famers.
As wide receivers.
Yeah, so that's just overwhelming. And Randy, his journey, he got kicked out of high school, you know, for getting into a fight. Got kicked out of a couple colleges. People gave up on him. He had to go to Marshall. Played not top-level football, but beneath that. 20 people skipped over him in the draft. He was the #1 player. Should have won the Heisman Trophy. He was the #1 player on the draft board. He fell all the way to 21 in Minnesota. And to culminate with now, man, you're going to Canton, first try? Oh, man, that's a tremendous accomplishment. Not only physically, but I saw the man change. A kid called me on draft day. That was Randy Moss. This was a grown man being awarded with the highest honor that you can have as an NFL player.
It's unbelievable, and I want to give the Hall of Fame credit. Because if this morning, and we were trying to prepare you for it, for people that watched last week, I'm going to pull the curtain back a little bit. One of the reasons we talked so much about the Hall of Fame at the end of last week was there was reason to believe Randy might not get in first try.
I didn't think he would get in.
Right.
Not because he didn't deserve it.
Why?
But because they didn't let T.O. in. And T.O. was in year 3. I thought T.O. definitely should go in. I didn't think he should go in over Randy, but I thought he should have been in. But typically, they don't like to put two positional players in at the same time.
We thought there was good reason to believe, however outrageous, that Randy wasn't going to get in. So we were kind of trying to prepare the audience for it. And so if they hadn't let him in this morning, I would be killing those group of electors. So I want to give them credit. You cannot find a flaw with this class. Ray, no doubter. Randy, no doubter. T.O., it took him 3 years, but he should have been a no doubter. Brian Urlacher, very well deserving first ballot. And Brian Dawkins, Cece mentioned, an interception in 15 straight seasons. Sounds make-believe. Like there were other guys. Steve Hutchinson has an argument. Edgerrin James has an argument. There are other good arguments, but there's no gripe with those 5 guys. And I'm so happy for Randy because even though I don't know him, he is a guy that I idolized growing up. You guys know me. I'm a talent guy. Give me big, strong, fast, amazing, superhero type stuff. That's what Randy was. And hearing the stories you've told me about his maturation, it's just amazing.
The thing that Randy, forget about all the stuff that you saw. NFL Films has captured that. But Randy, I've taught a lot of wide receivers. I'm talking about thousands of them. None more talented than Randy Moss. Randy, for me, I design stuff in my mind. I'm very, very creative as far as my route running. Randy could do things that I couldn't do, but I could think about. And I used to try them out on him, and he could do them. Now, I'm talking about going to Pro Bowls with Jerry, with Michael, and all the other great receivers, Tim Brown, all of them that played in my era. We used to experiment and try stuff. No one can do what Randy Moss did. No one could do the things. No one at 6'4" had the short area quickness. No one at 6'4" could run sub 4.3. Say, how fast is Randy Moss? 2 steps faster than everyone but Deion Sanders and Darrell Green. That's how fast Randy Moss is with that type of frame. And you're talking about if you grading his hands on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 plus. A big man, very, very graceful, very quick and fast, and with great hands. I mean, his ability to track a ball, I believe, is the best in NFL history. I'm talking about a deep ball down the field. like Willie Mays in center field. No one can do it better. Randy Moss can run faster than you can throw a football.
Awesome.
And the other thing that I want to say about Randy, and I'm not trying to shortchange the other guys. Ray's here a lot, and we've talked to Ray about it, and Ray was a foregone conclusion. And so he's the other guy that was on that caliber that made the Hall. I'm not trying to shortchange Ray at all, but we knew Ray was going to get in. So this is a special moment for Randy. One of the things I always respect about Randy, and it didn't always serve him the best, but Randy seemed like he has done an amazing job being from Rand, West Virginia, to this day, staying pretty true to himself. Now, sometimes that turns into straight cash, homie, and a line that, you know, sometimes that turns into I play when I want to play, which Chris will tell you has been misconstrued by people. But Randy hasn't seemed to, even though he's become more refined and more mature, he has not let the core of who he is change or ossify through the time. And it's just, this for me is one of my childhood, and I know it's embarrassing to say because Chris was his teammate and his brother, but this is one of my childhood sports heroes, was Randy. Like, I mentioned it last week, I didn't get to see Bo Jackson. I didn't get to see athletes like this on the football field, and so I'm so happy for him.
Cece, so now that the Hall let in T.O. and they let in Randy Moss as a first ballot Hall of Famer, do we see them moving forward with, well, we're not going to factor in any off-the-field distractions or anything other than what happens in football? Do you see maybe they're moving more in that direction?
No, I think that they have set a standard as far as the Hall. The locker room is an extension of the playing field. They have determined that. They set a precedent for that. I think the way the numbers are, the numbers have been moved up, that the standard now, to me, is even higher. I mean, if you look at guys playing the game now, I mean, in the next couple of years, we're going to have a guy like Calvin Johnson up for the Hall of Fame.
That's a tough one.
If Larry Fitzgerald, you know, he hasn't told me if he's decided to come back yet, you know, for this season. If not, in 6 years, he'll be ready to go into the Hall. I know he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a world-class human being. So, no, the standard has gotten tougher. You know, they are not going to lower the standard. So, if you're out there and you're catching passes, if you don't have 1,000 of them, there ain't no need to think about being in the Hall of Fame, not unless you Calvin Johnson and you decide to have a shorter career than the other great wide receivers.
All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up, how did the Eagles catch the Patriots off guard? One last segment. It's going to be a good one.